exciting day because it's a week to the festival. So ultimately, this is the time that I think that everybody should be absolutely just getting their tickets, thinking about their week ahead if they're not already booking up. So I think it's perfect timing.
Absolutely perfect timing. So listen, tell us first of all how you get into the Wim Hof method.
Oh, I thought I was talking about tarot.
Oh no, you're going to talk about tarot too.
Okay, so the Wim Hof method, so I'm a spiritual healer and I've been very upbeat most of my life. And the Wim Hof method, the question you've asked me, how did I get into it? Well, I knew about every single healing technique. I had been to India 19 times, that's 19, right? And I've explored every avenue, every diet, every medicine possible. And actually, in 2019, I lost my mum, my best friend, my job. Oh my goodness, I couldn't have a worse time. And I had to just go right fully in and fully out. This shit must work. And that is exactly how I came about it. Now, I got influenced in 2020 saying, I know how to breathe and I know how to dip. Why the hell would you pay all that money to be a Wim Hof instructor? And the reason is the community, the brand, and the science. So, yeah, I had to get fully into the method. I practiced it myself. And for me, I'm 47. So I was struggling with everything. And it was just the only way. It was the only way. And I'll tell you another thing. People come to me for the answer all the time as a spiritual healer and as a tarot master, and the closest to God or the higher power spirit I'll ever get is when I'm in that room doing that breathing.
Absolutely, I could not agree more. And the first time I experienced it, I was so angry it had taken till I was nearly 60 to discover it. I was like, what? Nobody's taught me. And like you, read a million books, been to India and Thailand and retreats and courses.
Dubai, Brazil, retreats, everywhere.
Exactly. And then you just do that breath work and you're suddenly transported into this like bliss and peace. And oh my God, yeah, and I think Wim Hof, he has done such a favour for humanity by bringing this really simple but powerful method out to the masses, because yoga and breathwork and all that was always seen to be a wee bit hippy dippy. And we didn't really understand that breathing changes your chemistry and your chemistry dictates your thinking and your feeling. So if you breathe differently without any need for therapy or anybody, and of course, as we know, doing it as a group, last year at the festival, everybody still talks about it. We had like 180 people in the tent, all breathing. It was just unbelievable. You get a different lift, don't you, when you do it as a group? And as you say, the community.
It's really difficult because I'm friends with a lot of people that are running retreats, Lilia, right? And they're teaching the Wim Hof breathwork so wrong. And I'm not like an auditor, right? But I just think like I've spent my life savings on learning this science. I've went out to Poland to qualify, and it's not easy to qualify either. It's hard. They put you through your paces. And when I've came back and I've thought to myself, I want to spread this word, it makes me just feel so sad that people are like probably not respecting it, because even just as close as last night, I had a woman questioning me, and like I was like, are you actually interested in this, or are you just trying to have a dig at me? Like, it isn't just breathing and it isn't just cold water. It's about knowing and understanding the way that you can use it. So I just feel so passionate, right? And I think to myself, for every single person that I meet, my answer is the Wim Hof method. Like every problem, what's the problem? Let's get into the method. So it's just about, I'm Gemma Collins, fully in with every single bit of my savings in my life. And I want to encourage and motivate as many people as possible to actually do the Wim Hof method, understand the Wim Hof method. But as I say, I thought I was talking about my tarot.
We're going to talk about that too. But okay. I wanted to know, because I think what everybody I've been speaking to when it was the Goddess gatherings, and now obviously for the festivals, because we've got like probably between Tarbert and Skye, about 50 guest presenters coming, you know, and it's fascinating for me doing this because I get to know people and I get to understand why they're doing, because I'll tell you, everybody I've spoken to has come through a difficulty. You know, whether it's I mean, we can't separate the body and the mind and any of that and the spiritual stuff. But, you know, that's what's, it's just people like you and I going, well, look, I was suffering. I found this is what I did. This is what helped me. And I think coming from real people that have been through it, it's saying, come on, you know, you can, at least you can try. And that's what's brilliant about the festivals, that people can come along, meet you guys. I mean, I can feel your enthusiasm from here. Meet you guys. You'll be there with your, you know, with all your ice baths, etc. People can talk to you one-to-one, because not everybody wants the big group. A lot of people have been suffering social anxiety. So, you know, for me, the Wim Hof method is a big part of how we're going to heal Scotland and how we're going to change the trajectory around and how we can lift people out of apathy and grief and fear and really use that energy and use our phenomenal land to get well again.
So, Lilia, when I show up in general, I am a goddess, right? So it's really difficult to keep this daily practice up. And what I was talking about, I was actually in Dundee working last night, and on the way home, there was this lady talking to me, and she says, well, Gemma, there only is one goddess. And I'm like, no, there's not, there's 9, right? And then I can't believe that I get into this big conversation. But ultimately, all that I would like to say is that I use the Wim Hof method personally to keep myself actually okay, right? Now, I've actually not been feeling that great the last few days. I say to myself, Gemma, have you done your breath work? No. Gemma, have you been for an ice bath or a cold dip? No, you've not. Well, no wonder you feel like that. So what are you doing? You're away helping everybody and spreading this word, and you're forgetting to help yourself. So ultimately, I believe the Wim Hof method will be with me forever as my own coping mechanism. And whether that's, I mean, I've been 25 stone before, so I've had massive surgery and massive weight loss. Then I've had bullying at my work. Oh my God, could you believe it? I can't. So then I've had the perimenopause, then I've had the grief, then I've had, I don't know which problem's worse. So I just decide to just actually breathe, motherfucker, as Wim Hof says. And I'm like, right, okay. And then I meet so many people and they say, oh my goodness, Gemma, you're so confident and you're so like amazing. And I'm like, have you got any idea what goes into that on a daily basis?
Yeah, absolutely.
So
you know, I was when I went through the like a lot of women have, I went into almost like pre-type 2 diabetes, which I didn't actually realise was can be an effect of the hormone changes, which is obvious now when you know about it. But also got postmenopausal arthritis, and I was like, no way am I having this. And you know, normally I would stick on the juicer for a few days and things would get easier, but the juicing wasn't really just enough. And I'd heard about the method, and I was like. And I lived in Malta. I like 30 degrees and I like sweating without exercising in the sun. So coming back here and going into the cold was, you know, people think I like the cold. Nothing could be further from the truth. Last 2 mornings I've sat out there far too long because it's been so nice. And then it takes me about 4 hours to heat up again. But it takes away the pain. You know,
so it's quite funny. It's quite funny you should say that, because when I started, I didn't know the science, I didn't know the method when I started practicing actually. And I remember I climbed the cobbler and I thought, oh my goodness, my knees are killing me, my hips, everything was just sore. And I remember reading that the cold water would actually help. And I just went that day and I thought I was in that much pain, I just jumped into the waterfall. And lo and behold, I came out like Superwoman. And I thought, whoa, what a rush I just got there. And, you know, I probably got addicted to that waterfall. I would say that I learned everything in reverse. So I done all the practice. I was doing all the, you know, I was doing all the waterfalls, the cold water dips. And now when I see people, and especially like there's people that I know that are teaching round about me and they're telling people to go for hot showers straight after the cold. And I'm actually thinking, remember, I'm not an auditor, right? And I'm like, okay then, right. So I'm just like, that's like saying don't drink like white wine and red wine together. And I'm thinking like, what are you actually doing? But anyway, I feel so passionate to share. Like, I've got a lot of vibe. I just want to share with the universe what makes me feel better. But I would say that I'm excited to come to the festival because here's the other thing, Lilia. I wasn't quite sure how to manifest myself to the festival in terms of financially. So then when I thought, let's combine the tarot and then I can be there for the Wim Hof. Now, I have qualified just in November, but I've been practicing since 2019. So when I come to the festival, I'm going to be in and around to answer all sorts of questions and everything like that. But I also just wanted to hopefully speak about the tarot and what I would be offering there over the 3 days for the tarot.
Absolutely. Please.
Because that's actually how the magic happened, because I thought I can actually manifest myself to this festival if I go doing tarot.
Just like magic. Absolutely. And you know, the weird thing was, I'd asked my friend to come and do cards, and she had something else on, and you can imagine I've got about 300 things going round in my head to organise, and then I got that email from you, and I was like, bloody perfect. So thank you so much for filling that space that was in my head that I hadn't managed to verbalise. So it's perfect. So tell us how you get into tarot.
So this is right. So basically, right. So let's pretend that Wim Hof really is my oxygen that keeps me alive. Tarot is. I've practiced tarot for a very, very long time. In fact, I've studied it since about the age of 12. And how I got into it was a very long time ago. I lived in a village called Dundonald. And you could actually get the bus to the next town, which was called Kilmarnock. And I don't know if this would be allowed nowadays, but in primary 5, I was allowed to get the bus to the town. Right. So I don't know if that's even legal now, right? But anyway, I used to have pocket money. And the whole point in getting the bus to the town would be to go to the leisure centre, which was called the Galleon, to take part in swimming, skating, or something like that. Well, I took myself into the indoor market across the road. And I met this lady, and she used to do the tarot cards. And she used to take maybe £20 off me at the time, but I used to spend all my pocket money going there. And then my mum would say, where on earth what are you doing with all this money? And I was like, oh, just busy buying people drinks and everything at the skating. Right? So I had this little secret meeting that I had with this lady in an indoor market. So then fast forward in that till I was around about 12, my auntie Fiona knew about this wee secret I had. And so I thought it was like terrible, like I couldn't do this thing, right? So I kept it hush hush. So my auntie bought me, right, a set of tarot cards when I was like 12, and I was like, oh my goodness, fascinated. But I'm 47, so there was no Google, nothing like that. So I had this magic that I could get all the answers from, right? So anyway, over the years, just developing. But here's a message I want to send out very fast to the universe, right? So, are you okay, Lily? I'm okay to talk?
Absolutely.
I just didn't want to get carried away with myself because I'm awful passionate. So basically, with tarot, there's 78 cards in the deck, right? 22 of those cards will happen anyway. That's fine. And then you've got 56 cards, and it's split into 4 parts, right? So you've got the element of air, which is all to do with your mental self and your brain and what's real and what's not real and all that kind of stuff. Then you've got the element of fire, and that's all your creativity, your inspiration, your motivation, and all your desires and actually unfulfilled potential. Then you've got your earth, which is all to do with your diet, your food, your like money, and your materialistic self, right? And then you've got water, which is all to do with your love and emotions and everything like that, right? Grief and whatever's happening with the water element now, that's a very deep one, right? But anyway, basically, I learned that at the time when I was at my peak learning of tarot, I used to watch Sex in the City. So I thought, really, that's just Samantha, Charlotte, Carrie, and Miranda. And then it took me down a massive psychological route, massive disc profiling, massive psychology, and actually was phenomenal for myself to understand myself and others. Right? So when some people come for a tarot reading with me, I just do what's on their cards and I give them the light entertainment, which is what they expect. But other times I can get right into the psychology, right into their element, and really, really, really give them something magical.
Wow, sounds
And
amazing.
I bet you've never heard tarot described like that before.
No, I haven't, and it makes complete sense. But I think
But
that's
it's so
wonderful.
sorry. It's so funny because, like, see, if I'm doing readings, well, people don't expect that. They expect a Blackpool fortune teller talking a lot of other predictions.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that it can be so helpful, to understand yourself a little better and maybe see a wee bit from the outside in, and anything that's going to give you more insight into how you are and maybe where your fears are, where your weaknesses are, so that you can work on that. It's got to be hugely, hugely helpful, hasn't it? And I think, as you're saying, mixing that with your passion about breathing in cold water, because you can now give people extra advice, because that's what I was going to say. All the people I've been talking to, we've all done loads of courses. What do you do? It just doesn't, one label doesn't fit anymore, because we're all so incredibly well educated and we're learning every day. I certainly am, even the microbiome stuff, and you're just like, oh my God, every day you're getting more and more and more expansion and understanding of it. And we've got a lot still to learn in these crazy times. So according to tarot then, what do you think is going to come up planetary wise this year for human beings?
This is actually year number 8, Lilia. So 8 in tarot's strength, and this is the strength and confidence to actually do what you're supposed to be doing and go where you're supposed to go. And when you look at the numbers over the years, like 5, 6, and 7, right? If you look through lockdown and you look through the tarot cards, 5 was about faith, 6 was about love, 7 was about doing the right thing, but now it's about 8. So there's a lot of numerology connected to the years, Lilia. But I don't want to be like chief master tarot reader of the universe, but what I would say is there's a lot of real big coincidences when you really look into them. And, when I give somebody a tarot reading, whether it's a mini reading or whatever, I just want to tick the box that they're looking for. I don't want to go too deep. I want to just give them what they're looking for. But I think there's a lot of answers in this year. So 8 has got no beginning. 8 has got no end. 8 is the sign for infinity. But this is going to be the biggest year for everybody if they want it.
Yeah. And what do you think about April the 8th? What do you think is going to happen there?
I just think to myself, the numbers are lining up. So you've got 8 and then you've got 4 and then you've got 2, 2. And so you've got 2024. So I think that 4's half of 8, 2 is half of 4. I just think it's well balanced. And it's like a lot of the time you'll see workshops now that are priced at £88 or £22, or people are using angel numbers. But more than ever, like I've actually more than ever, like I've never felt more strong, more confident to own what I'm doing, to own what I'm saying, and like actually have the confidence to say, if everybody knew, if there was Samantha, Charlotte, Carrie, and Miranda, if everybody knew whether they were earth, air, fire, and water, like why am I trying to be this person when I'm actually that person? So I think this is a year where everybody's going to be strong, confident, and for this year, I just see a lot of success, but I think there's a lot of success if the person believes it and wants it.
Yeah, it's up to us. It always has been, but I think we handed a lot of our power away, didn't we, and expected others to give it to us. And now it's like, no, actually, there's no horse with a prince coming to pick you up. You need to do it yourself.
It's not that as well. I feel a lot of people trying to copy other people, and I feel like saying, right, come on, let's just be strong. So I would like to be Gemma Collins, Just As Tarot. Then I would like to be Gemma Collins, Wim Hof instructor. And then I'm also Gemma Collins, a boxing judge. I know, random. But, So I'm thinking to myself, you know, like this is a year where I'm like, and it's funny, Lilia, because although I want to be as positive as possible, the more strong and the more confident I've become, I've lost friends.
Really?
Aye. And then I've got a friend who said, "Did you read that book I gave you called Attached?" I says, "No, I've not read that book." She says, "I suggest you read it, Gemma, because when you evolve and when you move on, so do your circles and so do your people." And I'm like, okay then. So it's just, you know, I just feel that everybody can attract somebody. I've actually always kept my eye on yourself. I know that you're a fan of Dr. Joe Dispenza. I know that you're a fan of the Wim Hof, the heart maths, all these kind of things. And during lockdown, I actually watched you a lot. You encouraged me and you motivated me. So secretly, whether you know this or not, I've always been watching you, and it's the same for me. I get girls phoning me up and saying, "Gemma, you've no idea what I just wore out. I've wore this tiny bikini," and I'm like, "Go you!" Like, why are you covering yourself up in full cotton to go into the water? Actually, get naked, you know. So it's like, see, when I get little messages and I've encouraged somebody and I don't get it to afterwards, and I think, oh my goodness. And as I say, I just think that we're not here for long. Let's look after our earth element, our air element, our fire element, and our water element. And I think we'll all do okay if we just do that.
Absolutely. Now, for people that are watching and this either live or on replay, you're going to be at Tarbert and you're going to be offering readings. So I heard you say there are mini readings. Are you going to have how many things, what's on your programme that people can come and buy, and what's the cost attached to it?
Okay, so basically what I do is I've got little pink cards that I work with, right? So what I'll do is I'll check in with the Wim Hof team and just find out where and when I'm required, because I'm unfamiliar with the location. And then what I'll do is I'll set myself up in a gazebo or in a base, and I'll just put little pink cards with times. And I think that what I'll do is I'll just do little 20-minute times.
Right, okay.
And then just give people testers. If somebody wants to get right deep into something, or if they want to get a bigger, more in-depth reading, I think that maybe we should do that not at the festival, because there's such a good lineup.
I know.
Right. So I'm thinking if somebody was just to get a £20 little mini reading, and it's nice and light-hearted, and if they enjoy what they hear and they enjoy what's on the cards, then I think we would be looking at booking private sessions after the festival. But I think that when I looked genuinely at the lineup, I thought, I maybe just want to do mini readings, but I wasn't sure, because I wanted to check in with you, first of all, and then I wanted to check in with the Wim Hof team, because I'll be at the Big Breathe on the Sunday for sure. Absolutely 100% for sure for that.
Yeah, right. That's brilliant. So people can come. You're going to be out with us at the Westlog Tarbert, and I've got a pod for you, so
okay,
you're able to do your readings there, and that's where all the speakers are going to be, all the stalls. That's where the water sports are, and that's where all the forest bathing and the foraging walks, everything like that is going from there. So we can set you up, but also for people that are in Tarbert, they can come out and get the reading, if they want to. So we'll put that in the email, that readings are available there. I think that's a great idea. And do you do these readings online?
So what happens is, for the readings online, let's just say for the festival, I think we should all be present, enjoy everything and network as much as we can and get some motivation and inspiration. So what we'll do is we'll do £20 mini readings, and you just pick up a wee pink ticket. The wee pink ticket will have the time on it. Come back at 3:10, come back at 4 or whatever, right? So that people aren't queuing up and people aren't waiting, and that works really well. I done that at the Largs Viking Festival. That doesn't mean to say I'm going to be working on a timer, and if I've got something, I'm going to be like, no, off the chair. I just feel that there's going to be so much going on over the 3 days, and it's just about getting the most of everything. And then if anybody wants like a full 1 hour reading or a half-hour reading or a larger session of whatever, then I can either come to them, or they can come to the shop in Troon, or I can do it online by video. Now, online by video is amazing, because I've got to work harder with numerology in that case.
Right.
And I also
for people that can't get to Troon.
Yes, that's it. And also when I do online reading, Lilia, I also record all the cards and I send pictures and then I do a voiceover of what it means in summary.
Fantastic, fantastic. Yes, well, I definitely want the full Boona at some
Oh,
point.
so I'm going to be there. So my aim is to order as many kilts as possible, to show up and just vibe, whether that's to do with Wim Hof, whether that's to do with helping other people, whether that's to do with doing tarot readings. I just feel excited to be part of this fantastic festival, and yeah, so bringing positivity.
Absolutely. Well, listen, thank you so much for participating, and also for taking the time to speak to us and explain, because nobody explains it quite like you.
But then I've
So,
got the younger people, sorry Lily, I've got the younger people like, what, Sex in the City? Like, what is that? And I'm like, okay then.
fantastic. Well, listen, I can't wait to actually meet you in person a week today.
I
Is it a week
know, isn't it
tomorrow?
exciting?
Yeah, I know. Absolutely brilliant. So I so appreciate your time, and thanks a million, and I will see you really soon.
Can I just ask you one thing before you go, Lilia?
Yes.
What's the best way for my friends to get tickets, and what's the best way for everybody that's not thinking about it to come? Because there's a lot of people from maybe the Ayrshire way that might want to come round. What's the best way
Everything's
for?
on the website. Everything's on the website, healscotland.com.
Just everything on the website, right? That's grand. That's absolutely fantastic.
Okay, brilliant. Thanks a million.
Right.